Well, today's build is what's called a bootlocker, and all it is a mini trunk. And I've had the most fun making this. It's a simple thing, but you know what? There's so many things that you can do with this, from different tops and different sides and joinery, different woods. Honestly, the limits are endless for doing this. I'm going to be making more of these because this was just so much fun to make. It's a light, this one's a light, easy trunk to make. And if you've got children or grandchildren and they're looking for family heirlooms, or you're wanting to pass things on to them that you've made, this is the perfect item, because this will last for years, decades, lifetimes. And it basically replaces all of those plastic totes that get brittle after a few years. Just a great little build. So let's jump into it. So one of the most perfect woods for making a project like this is pine. And I don't use a lot of pine, but for this, it's perfect. The wood is relatively inexpensive. It's a lighter wood. Of course, it's a soft wood. It's not going to take a lot of wear and tear like a chair or a table would. And it's just a box. So it's going to be an easier wood to work with. So for a box like this, we don't want it to be too large, because we want it to be able to fit in different locations and be easier to carry around. So in my case, I'm going to make it 12 inches high, 14 inches wide, and 24 inches long. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut up this wood, and I'm not going to show you the cutting because I think most of you already know how to cut wood, unless there's something special that I want to show you. So when we come back, we should have all the pieces ready to go. Okay, so this is my face side. So what I'm going to do, so that you can see what goes on here, I'm going to take this out and I'm going to spin it around like that. Put that in my vise like that. And now my doweling jig, which I've already configured, and I'll show you when I get to the other side of it how to reconfigure this. Takes like a minute. But now I'm going to be drilling holes in the sort of the back side. So I'm configuring that like that. I can feel that those are right even. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill 2 holes here, and then I'm going to drill another one down here, and I'll show you how I'm going to measure from here on down so that the dowel holes are all equal all the way down. And now I'm going to take that down, and that's going to go into that last hole. There it is. Now that's given me a precise measurement. And now I can drill the last hole again. I just want to make sure that's tight. Now I do the same thing one more time. There it is. And remember, I said I was going to go one more and then I'll go one up. Now I'm going to have to move that. There it is. And now I want to go one up on the last one. Now I'll take that jig now and turn it over like this, and I'll do the other side of this board, and then when we come back, I'll show you how we do the end of that board. Okay, so what I want to do now, I want to convert my doweling jig from doing the side like this to doing the end. So this is how long it takes to do that. You just have to take these 2 brass bars out of this side here, and you take that around like that, and that's all it looks like. There we go. Now that's ready to go. like that. So what I'm doing now, I'm bringing it out because I need to drill holes here to match the holes that I put in the back of here. So what I'm going to do is take this, flip it up like this into my vise, and now my jig is all ready to go, and all I need to do is align it, and I'm going to do the same thing I did with that. So I'm going to go 1, 2, then 3, and then move it down the same way, and that will give me an identical holing. All of these are lined up from that top pin, so if the top pin works, then we should be golden everywhere. So let's go ahead and see what we can do here. Yeah, well, that one's perfect. Okay, and that one lines up. Yeah, it's even on the right on the edges, they're perfect. Okay, I kind of expected that this was going to align up. I'm doing the tops here. I'll flip that over and I'll give you a wide view of this in just a second. Yeah. Yeah, okay, perfect. All right, let me zoom out for you. Okay, so there's the wide view, and I have to say my only real complaint, these boards are not absolutely flat. And what that means, for example, let's go on the end here. When I push down on this side, you can see there's a tiny bit of a gap here, which isn't, you know, for a wide board like this, that's not the ends of the earth, because all I need to do is put some clamps on there, which I'm going to do anyway. But this is what our, basically it's just a huge box. That's what it's going to look like. And I'll be cutting the top of that off later on. The gluing is going to take a little while because I need to make sure that I get glue in all of the dowel holes, plus along the edge as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is fill the dowel holes with glue, and I'll insert the dowels in there. Perfect. All right. There we go. Nice tight fit all the way around. Everything's square. It's up against all the sides. That's perfect. It looks like it's all ready to go. Now what I'm going to do, because I want to align these, I'm going to use some sticks that we use. And what we do is we lay out 3/6 of contact cement only sticks to itself. So I can put wood down on here and it doesn't stick to it. And this contact cement is sort of semi-dry. Now the next thing I want to do is lift my piece that I want to glue, and I'm going to sort of position it on top, and it's a little bit larger. The top piece is a tiny bit larger, and what I'm going to do now is just slide that middle piece out like that, and I'm going to realign that a little bit. There we go. Now the next thing Okay, so here's my boot locker, and the only thing I need to do now is to put a top and a bottom on. And there's a few different ways. I'm going to show two different ways of putting either tops and or bottoms on this. And as you can see, I have some wood down here now. I have some 3/4 inch wood down here. And you could just put the bottom and even the top, and lots of them are like this, you could put those on just like that, glue that down, maybe pin it with some 23 gauge nails and glue that. That would be fine. What I'm going to do on the bottom, I'm actually going to rabbet this down a little bit so that I make a rabbet cut in there so that the bottom will actually fit slightly inside the box. And on the top, I'm going to route that out, and you'll see that when we get to it. So you can see there, I've set the blade height to just the top of that cut. And the next thing I need to do is to set the distance from the fence. And because it's half of that bar, that measuring bar, I'm going to set that right about there. That should do that. And now I just need to make those cuts. Okay, I'll bring the top in. See how that fits. That should sit pretty nice in there. Oh, perfect. Good. That's a nice tight fit. Good. All right, now the next thing I need to do is to glue this base on. Okay, now that I have the inside trimmed, I have to cut the top to size because it's oversized right now. So the next thing I need to do is make some measurements and start cutting. And I'm going to cut it a little bit large and trim it down. So I'm not going to show you that trimming because I'm ready for glue now. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to glue this. I'm going to let it sit for a while. Then I'm going to do some sanding. And then the final thing we'll do is we'll cut the lid off and then we'll do some finishing. So okay, the box is complete. I've even sanded it, so I need to be careful. But now I'm going to cut the top off, so you'll be able to see what that looks like. And the reason we do this after is because it's all together, so everything will line up nicely. So for any of you who've been watching my channel, you're probably saying, oh, he's probably going to finish with Osmo. And you're right, I am going to use Osmo. I've been using this for over 20 years now, and I love this product. Now, this is a new formula, and I've used this a couple of times, and I really like this new formula. What I'm going to be doing this time, I'm going to be using a roller, and the application is to roll it on, let it sit for 15 minutes, and then wipe it off, because this is what they call a hard wax oil. So it soaks in to the wood, and as it does that, in 24 hours it cures hard, and they use this for flooring. So this is really a hard product, perfect for this kind of thing. It will withstand all sorts of bumps and bruises, and it looks great. It's easy to apply. It's really bulletproof, and it doesn't give you a high gloss. This that I'm using is a satin, so it gives you just a little bit of a luster to it. It's just a perfect finish. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and you'll be able to see as I go along here. Well, that's my boot locker, all complete now, all ready to go. And I love the way the finish, the Osmo finish, sort of offset that pine, and putting the cherry on top, the cherry wood on top, and there's a little bit of color here as well, so it sort of offsets it a little bit. I just think the whole thing looks perfect. I ended up putting a piano hinge along the back. Because it's pine, and I felt that just having two hinges on there, they may come loose in decades down the road. It's nice and roomy. It's not heavy. I put a stop on there so when the lid comes up, it's not going to overtax the hinges. Just everything about this is just a great little build. It's easy, and there's a ton of things you could do with this. All sorts of different things you could do with the top, with the sides. You could, as I said before, you could do dovetails or box joints on there, lots of things. In fact, I did a video a few years ago on using one of the commercial jigs, dovetail jigs. I'll put a link to that there. You might want to go and have a look at it. It's not an expensive jig, and it would work great for doing something like this. So all in all, I'm just really happy with. I'm going to be making more of these because it sort of opened up a whole new door for me for looking at different things you could do with making boot lockers. I'm Colin Connett for Woodwork Web. Thanks for watching.